Welcome to Rewired for Great Success with Dr. Aimee V. Sanchez, neuropsychologist, executive coach, organizational development expert, award-winning best-selling author, and international speaker. Dr. Sanchez is on a mission to impact 1 million leaders through her thought leadership and specialized programs for women leaders. She is passionate about helping organizations strategize and draw a direct connection between leadership, diversity and inclusion, and organizational outcomes. Welcome to the conversation.
She is a doctor, a naturopath, a wellness expert. She just has a wealth of information, and I've asked her to come here today to discuss with us about the issue of resilience and wellness overall for women leaders, because as I know, in my years of having worked with so many high potential women, and also having been there, bought the t-shirt, that you can get wrapped into your own way of life, executing at 150%, running your life and doing all the multiple things that you have responsibility for, but your health ends up taking a back burner. So I've asked Wendie to come on today and talk with us a bit about resilience and tell us more about what she's doing, and hopefully give us some insights that we can incorporate and work into our lifestyle and practices. So welcome, Wendie. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you, Dr. Sanchez. It is just an honor and a privilege. I'm excited to be here myself. Thanks.
Thank you. So Wendie and I happened to meet through a mutual friend, Deborah Smith-Pagay. She's the best-selling author of over 18 books, and her latest book, called Lead Like a Woman, came out this year. And Wendie had been a contributor to that book, as well as I. But Wendie spoke on the issue of your health is your wealth. And so with that mindset, Wendie, what I wanted to ask you is, what words of wisdom would you give to women, especially women of influence, who are listening today regarding how they can maximize their health and fitness in light of everything that they're doing and how busy they are?
Yeah, women that are type A driven, they're influencers, they tend to just go, right? And it's awesome because they're high performers, they get a lot done. But the problem with, not all, because a lot have their health in check, but I think with so many, they're putting kind of a reverse order on things and putting their business ahead of their health, or even their, if I could put it like this, their family ahead of their health. Because I'll tell you that if you don't have your health, then you're not able to show up and perform the way that you really want to, and the way God designed for you to show up. And so whether that's just being in your home as an influencer in your home, as the woman, the wife, the mom, if you don't have that energy and you're not healthy, whole, and complete, you can't step up. You don't have the energy. You don't have the mental capacity and the wherewithal to really perform at your best level. And so I would say that women need to think about their health differently. Their health really is their true wealth. If they are not taking care of themselves, pretty soon they're gonna hit a wall. Mm-hmm. And they get emotional. I mean, we are interesting creatures, women. We're very complicated by nature, but yet there's reasons that we hit a wall, and it's because influencers and type A women are driven, and then they're forgetting that, wow, I can only go so far without taking care of my health. And so it's about fueling your body and your mind so that you can perform best, and making sure that you're taking time, and not just taking the time, but making the time. You are one of your most important appointments. So that's a mindset.
No. It really is, and you're so right. I think I've shared this story multiple times. Actually, it's part of my testimony about how I really got off course a lot in my life, not even just with my mission and my purpose and what I was doing in my everyday life, but also in regards to my health. And with the stress at work and everything that was going on, I ended up exacerbating my own health crisis and not being able to work for 9 months because I was so sick. But part of that was adrenal fatigue. And so I think that we tend to kind of minimize the impact of these experiences that we're having in our daily life when our body is sending us signals that things aren't right, because we're so driven, like you said, that type A personality about executing and bringing results. And then we have this mindset where we think, if I don't show up, they need me. What happens if I don't do but what happens really if you don't put you first?
Right.
So it's got to become a priority. And hopefully, for women that are listening, and this is why I chose to do this episode, that you will do it not at the expense of your health like I did, because I really literally almost lost my life. So ladies, just, listen here today. These are nuggets that Wendie is dropping for us, because she's helped thousands of women, I'm sure, over the years. And she's seen these recurrent themes. So you're not alone in it, ladies. Actually, this is pretty common. And I think that's why it's so important that it's now become Wendie's life mission, as well as mine, to help women just see what you're doing so that we can kind of disrupt those patterns and you can get back to a whole and fully functioning you. Don't you think, Wendie?
100%. And I think that that's it. It's about disrupting the patterns and the mindsets of how a woman has typically operated. Like we wear a cape, right? Like we are Superwoman, Wonder Woman. We can do it all. Well, guess what? You really can't. And I'm sorry, but let go of the ego and let go of the pride and stop. Take a breath, and give yourself some grace while also being intentional. And when you are in a better place, I mean, your adrenals, adrenal fatigue is one of the biggest problems that that my women are dealing with, because their hormones are so out of whack. And eventually, you're going to hit a wall and you're going to collapse. And so is it really worth it? No, it's not. And so understanding that, okay, my health is my true wealth, and I deserve to take care of myself. Why? Because number one, it's going to glorify and honor our Creator, because we were giving this body as a gift, and it houses the Holy Spirit, right? So we want to take good care of this vehicle that we've been given, but also just understanding that you are one of your most important appointments. So making that time, sticking with it, putting healthy boundaries around that time is important. So it might mean for someone getting up at 5 a.m. It might mean a lunch date for yourself. It might be in the evening, but do not compromise. And I think that's the biggest thing. Is we let other stuff and other people dictate our day and dictate our health. Like even when you go to a restaurant, right, Dr. Sanchez? Like we order something on the menu. Well, they don't have exactly what would be healthy for us. So wait a minute, we're paying for this meal. Why wouldn't we ask? So I literally will bring some of my own spices sometimes, and I will tell them, I need you to cook this, this, and this. I see you have it on the menu, and please cook it without oil or salt. And they do. They don't give me a hard time. We have to be bold and courageous and ask for what we want. That's
my gosh, this is so good. This is so good. I mean, as you're talking, like I'm just getting invigorated with this, because I really think you and I should write a book about this or something.
Okay.
Because this stuff is so real. And, the sociological aspect of that is that if many of the women that are listening to this episode grew up a lot like I did, or maybe even Wendie, your ideas about work, your responsibilities as a professional woman are totally different than maybe how you were raised or the generation of your parents who raised you. And so we're oftentimes fighting against those images and those thoughts that we have about ourselves and what it means for us to be able to do things like use our voice, speak confidently, to be able to ask for help, that for some reason it means something different about us, or that we're not as strong, or that we're not as capable when we ask for help. And we totally got to change that, because for many of our families, or many of the ladies listening, we may be the primary breadwinner. We may be the one, if you don't have a family, you may be the one who's going to work every day, and you and your health and everything that goes with that, your livelihood is tied to your ability to be a whole, healthy and functioning person. So this is why this is so important, because you choosing yourself can impact generations.
Dr. Sanchez, can I tell you a story?
Yes.
Speaking on that, I just had a client that she's a business owner. Her and her husband have a thriving business in California, actually. And she has 3 boys, and she's in her early to mid 50s. And she is a go-getter. Like, she gets stuff done. She is awesome. But her health has been on the back burner for so long. And so I'm literally working with women on the emotional side of things, because they think that, like what you're saying, is they have to have it all figured out, that they have to be able to do it on their own. And if they haven't figured it out and done it on their own, then there's something broken and wrong with them. Well, that's just a wrong way of thinking, because we can't be masters at everything. That's why we have to invest in our health, or invest in maybe someone that's leading us and helping us with our finances, or helping us with relationships, or our mental health. We need to understand that getting those coaches and experts in our sphere is how we lead like women. We don't have to have it all together in every department of our life. And so anyway, it's just very common for women to have that pride and ego, if I can use those words, because they think they have to, if they can't do it on their own, then they're just broken goods, and they're just going to be the way they are forever. They're embarrassed to ask. I think that's it.
I think so. And, for those of you who are listening, don't be turned off by the idea of us talking about you being bold, because that's part of what makes you unique and so gifted and just so amazing with what you do, right? It's that cape that is the problem. So I think that, the idea that you may even have a servant heart, and that
that is the leader, right?
Yeah, that is the leader.
Serving.
Your tendency to put yourself on the back burner is because that heart in you is so strong. But what we're saying to you is your ability to meet that need and serve others will be greater, and your impact will be greater when you learn how to be a servant leader to yourself. Right?
Yes.
So
the ripple effect is massive.
It is.
Take care of you. Yep.
So I do want to ask you, though, there's a lot with everything that's shifting, folks that are working virtually now, right? And here we go again. We're taking on those additional responsibilities. Some of us are maybe even homeschooling our children. I know I am. There tends to be even less time for ourselves. So, what would you say to that professional working mother who's feeling overwhelmed? Like, what would your 3 main suggestions be to help her to operate at that peak emotional state and physical performance when she's got that high demand job?
Yeah. Well, first of all, reevaluate what is on your plate, meaning your schedule plate, but also reevaluate what's on your real plate, because you might be walking into the kitchen a little more often since you're working from home. So being very consciously aware of your actions and being in the present moment. So just pause, take a breath, be filled with gratitude. I think that's really the first thing, is just to pause and be present. Because I think we tend to go, and we're just going through the motions sometimes. And you might even find yourself, like I say, walking into that kitchen mindlessly, or doing something in your routine, or that someone has put on your to-do list that really you don't need to be doing. Your time is worth more than that. You can delegate that to somebody else. So don't think that you have to do that. So really reevaluate, right? So pause, reevaluate, and figure out, where can I take things off of my schedule plate and off of my plate that isn't healthy, my food plate, and where do I fit me? Where do I fit me here, and not feel guilty? There's no guilt. There's no shame. It's all about, this is a part of who I am and how I will function in a better light, and lead better for my children, lead better in my work environment. So it's really just taking a pause, taking a few deep breaths, having gratitude, and finding out, where do I reevaluate and reallocate time and energy and effort. So just take the moment and do that, because if you're just constantly going through the motions and not pausing, then you're never going to find that out. So that's the first thing. Next, I would say, once you figure that out, then go through your day with relaxed intensity. That's right. 2 different sides, right? But it's a relaxed intensity. It's the flow. When we're flowing, we're going. When we're flowing and we have a healthy habit of movement and way in which we operate into our day, we have intentionality behind it, because our appointments are set up, everything's organized, but there's a flow, and we're in a place of gratitude, and it feels good. If there's something that you're doing right now that really is not feeling good. Maybe it's even with homeschooling your children in a certain area. My husband's sister actually works with different homes in the area, and she comes in and assists with the homeschool work and helps to get the kids more organized. So maybe you need to find someone like that in your area. Again, you don't have to keep that cape on. Drop the cape so you can grow some wings, right? And really fly. So that's the deal. So yeah, so pause, operate in relaxed intensity, and then honestly, don't just take the time, but make the time for yourself. Figure out where that is and make the time for you.
Okay. So she said a lot there, and
I'm
just loving every bit of it. I'm loving the relaxed intensity is really good. And then of course the mindfulness, I'm all about anything having to do with mindset. And I used to think it was kind of jokey, right? I use this term kind of coachy, not in a bad way, but it's one of these things you don't take seriously, to be mindful as I'm chewing, or to be mindful of what I'm eating. But it really does make sense. Because, you know, literally I'm sitting in front of my computer, I'm eating, I'm trying to help my son with math. Like all these things are going on. And then before I know it, oh, here I go. You'll get a second helping. And
and your body will not digest the foods as effectively when you're in that state of on the go, right? So just being mindful and eating and letting your body do what it needs to do and have gratitude through it. Give yourself that space. Feels
slow
good.
it down, ladies. Slow it down. I think that's what I tell people too. Slow down so that you can speed up at the right time.
Amen. There you go.
Yes.
Love
so,
it.
Okay. So with that, if folks are like me and they're listening and you just are nowhere started on this journey towards your health, but you know you need to get started, what is a way that you can start simple?
Yeah, just simply, maybe you're at your computer a lot, or you're just engrossed in your work. Set your alarm on your phone. Set your alarm to get up every half hour and just walk around your house, walk around the office. You know, just shaking it up a little bit will start to create new neurological associations with what you are currently doing. Like for instance, if you go to the bathroom, which I hope you are because you're drinking plenty of water, every time you go to the bathroom, do an exercise. So you start to create a habit that is on top of something you're already doing anyway. And it becomes like, part of that flow, right?
Yeah.
Part of that flow into your day, and it doesn't feel like a chore of working out. So it doesn't have to be when you're working out, for instance, one big chunk in a day. You can move it throughout your day, a little bit here, a little bit here. It all adds up. Something is always better than nothing. So keep that in mind, but also doing what you have to do. Like I said, setting an alarm. Maybe it's even to get up and go to the bathroom. How about that one?
That's the real hashtag realness.
Hashtag go to the bathroom. Drink your so maybe you can do that, or just, you know, you have to stand up. You know, Dr. Vernico, she used to work with the astronauts, and she really studied their bodies and stuff whenever they were not working against gravity, whenever they were in kind of that space feeling. And their body started to atrophy just after 20 minutes of not working against gravity. So if you are sitting for any length of time, in 20, 30 minutes, stand up. Do some calves, do some squats. It doesn't have to be something big. It's going to get your blood pumping. You're going to think more clearly, and your body isn't going to atrophy as much. And so it's really interesting to think that, because I think there's so many women that are constantly in their chairs working, or get a stand-up desk. And even if you're standing, you're going to want to work against gravity. So squat or do some calf raises, that kind of thing. But just one little thing, just go for a walk. Go for, you know, do half of your lunch break of eating, and the other half go for a quick little walk. It's just something simple will really make a big difference. Drinking half of your body weight in ounces every day. That's a good goal. Doesn't mean you will get there, but that's a good rule of thumb, and will help you flush out toxins from your body. And our body is 70% our cells are 70% water. We need water. It will help us think more clearly, have more energy, and perform better. So America is like chronically dehydrated. So water.
Oh, yeah. And like, that's real water. That's
Yeah,
not
right.
like Gatorade
Thank you,
or
sister.
one of these,
Yeah.
what do you call it? Those vitamin waters
Oh
and
yeah,
all of
no.
that stuff.
No, just plain Jane, H2O. Put a lemon in there if you need to, whatever, a
Yes, you
lime.
can infuse it with different fruits. I mean, there's so many things you can do with water, but
Yes,
yes,
water.
real water, ladies, real
Yeah,
water. I
yeah.
have to, I struggle with that, but I have to make my water fun in order to get it down.
Now, is that a mindset thing, Dr.
Oh
Sanchez?
yeah. It's definitely a mindset thing. I actually, when it comes to food and exercise, I have decided I don't want anybody to tell me anything, including myself. I won't listen to myself. So I have to make it easy, like almost dummy proof that
Yeah.
I don't wait till I'm thirsty to drink, but that I just keep going on a rhythm, and that by the end of the day, I've met my goal. Like that, I have to see it and it has to taste good. That's it.
Yes. And you're absolutely right. And also planning for your week. So I'll do like salads in a jar for my husband and I. And that
Oh
way they're
yeah.
already made. I don't have to think about it. So yeah, dummy it down if you have to. Just have it all ready, because then you're prepped for success for the entire week.
Yes.
You just take the jar of salad, dump it on the plate, boom, you've got your salad. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
make it easy.
I love it. I love it. So, okay, ladies, she's given us so many simple tips to get started. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling very convicted right now. There's things I could be doing and maximizing that I'm not. So I'm going to have to go back and listen to this podcast because it's been so good. So we are going to take a break and get into our next segment, which I like to call our wild card segment. So we will be coming back to you in just a second. Okay, we're back. We have been talking with Miss Wendie Pett. She is a doctor, a naturopath, a wellness expert. She is a television show host. There's just so many things that Wendie has been talking with us about today, and I'm just so grateful that she's here. But now we're getting ready to get into our wild card segment. And how often do you have a nationally recognized health and wellness expert with you to ask questions? So this is what the wild card segment is: ask an expert. So I'm going to ask Wendie a question, and she's just going to give us her best opinion about this particular topic. So are you ready, Wendie?
Well, I guess so. Here we go.
Okay, so in your opinion, how are health and resilience aligned when it comes to your ability to perform professionally?
Health and resilience aligned.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
How's all that tied to your professional execution?
To me personally or in general?
Let's take both.
Okay.
You're the expert, so let's hear both, because I think they're both probably pretty valid.
Well, for me, as an individual, it helps me think more clearly. And my husband always says, it's amazing. Your emotions are like this. Your highs are here and your lows are here. And for me, I'm like, really? Is that a compliment? And he's like, oh, yes. So, because I know I get excited and I have my down days, but he says, no, you're just like, you're like right here. And I believe that is what helps keep me resilient in my days, because when we get all caught up in our emotions, I talk about with my clients about releasing weight. And first you have to release the emotions that are attached to the weight.
Wow.
So many times the emotions are attached to how we're fueling ourselves or not fueling ourselves, or the actions that we take or don't take. And those emotions are real, but we don't have to hang on to them. We need to release them. You can feel them, but we need to release them and let them go where they need to go. And so I feel like that's the big thing. Our health is more than just our physical health. Our health is our mind, our body, and our spirit. And those three components must all work together consistently in order to really show up as your healthiest, best self and contribute to society in the way that you would like to, in the way that you were designed and created to. So that's my thought, is that really it changes the ways in which your hormones are fluctuating. We want to balance those hormones out. And so that resilience allows us to show up when there's a conflict at work, or a problem to be solved. We can think more clearly when we take time and we own our health, and we step up and do it. Just do the work. And I'm telling you, it gets easier over time, but the payoff is greater than the work ever feels like it is, right? When you start first going into a program, it always feels uncomfortable, right? That's anything new, but it becomes comfortable over time. And so just give yourself grace, but stay consistent and stay persistent. I talk about how moderation kills momentum. So often we'll step into a space and we're doing really well, and then we want to reward ourselves. And so rewarding yourself needs to look different than maybe what those other rewards were in the past that will get you off track. So reward yourself with something positive, like a bubble bath, or a nice good book to read, or a conversation with a friend. But knowing that resilience and that health, they go hand in hand, and one really can't go without the other. You have that resilience because you are mentally sharp, you're physically strong and able, and you're spiritually equipped.
Wow. I did not expect you to say that.
Well,
that is amazing. No, that is amazing. This is why I asked Wendie to come, because she's an expert in this area, and just the way that you conceptualized all of that is spot on. So, wow. Thank you.
Praise God. You're welcome.
Yes. Praise God. So now what we're going to do is we're going to be rounding out the end of the show here. This time has flown by. And I just want to ask Wendie, is there anything that you'd like to say to our listeners on the way out?
You know, you can tell that I'm a Jesus girl, I'm a spiritual girl. And so I really just want to remind you that 2 Timothy 1:7 says that God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power and self-control and love. And so know that you do have the power to overcome any obstacles. Know that you do have the tools. You may not have them in your toolbox right now, but there's people like myself or Dr. Sanchez and others out there that you can invest in your health, and it can become part of your toolbox. So just know that your health is your true wealth, and you're worth taking the time, and you're worth the investment. So we care about you, and we just want you to care about you too.
Thank you so much. And Wendie, if people are interested in learning more about you, what you do, or how they can work with you, where can they find you?
Sure, thank you. They can go to wendiepett.com, which is WendiepEtt.com. Or if they're listening to this and they're like, oh my goodness, I really want to just talk to this woman, let's get started. Go to getvisiblyfit.com and check it out, fill out the application, and set a time on my calendar, and we'll just have a conversation. But Dr. Sanchez, I'm so grateful to be on your program. Thank you. You're just such a dear.
Thank you. Thank you. This has blessed me in so many ways, and I'm sure it's blessed all the women that were listening today. So again, ladies, listen to the replay, take some notes, and share it with a friend, okay? Because this has just been an amazing time. Thank you so much again, Wendie, for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Yeah, thank you. And thank you all for listening. My name is Dr. Sanchez. We'll see you next time. Take care.
Thank you for joining the conversation. Remember to subscribe, share, and join us next time.